The most overlooked running back in the NFL has to be Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks. In 2 seasons, Walker has put up 1,900 rushing yards, just under 2,400 yards from scrimmage, and 18 touchdowns. Now, stats aren't everything. They tell a very shallow story of a player's career, and what really matters is what kind of player they are on film. And what Kenneth Walker brings to the film room is pretty special. It's rare that you find a player who is as well-rounded as Kenneth Walker is. Something that won't pop up on a stat sheet is his borderline elite vision that partnered up with good acceleration and speed while being pretty strong for his size really makes Kenneth Walker a true weapon. So today I want to jump into some Kenneth Walker film and I want to demonstrate what makes Kenneth Walker one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL, and of course, we're a fantasy football channel here, makes him super underrated for fantasy football come 2024. But before we dive into any film, if you like the video, leave a like down below. And if you want to see any other scouting reports, you can check them out. They'll pop up on the screen. There'll be a little notification. I've already done videos on Bijan Robinson from last year and Jahmyr Gibbs if you want to check out some more running backs. All right, so first, let's start off with some plays showing off Kenneth Walker's vision. And here is just a simple play against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's looking for a hole, the left guard is pulling, sliding over, and there's just nothing open, right? It looks like everything is clogged up. But Kenneth Walker has patience and the vision to know, hey, that left guard is coming. He makes his block, I will have a wide open hole. And the fact that he has the patience to wait for that hole to break open, which I don't think a lot of other running backs would. I think they would have got panicked and either ran into their line or try to bounce this outside. But Kenneth Walker holds his ground, does kind of a jump stop, waits, and then accelerates through the hole and gets a nice first down. I like this play a lot because it shows Walker's vision and it shows kind of the concepts that Seattle used a lot of in 2023 when it came to the running game. Here you have Jake Bobo going in motion across the field, just trying to bring any defenders with him towards the boundary. And then you have a tight end going across the field pulling, being a backside blocker trying to get that edge defender. Here, Walker gets the pitch and he has to decide, does he want to go up the middle or does he want to bounce this outside and kind of go off tackle? But Walker, he stays strong, he finds the hole in the middle, and he gets in there with great acceleration, gets to the second level, and keeps going. One thing Kenneth Walker isn't on film is a one-footed cutter. You know, he doesn't have these super electric cuts, but how he makes up for it is his great vision. He knows where he wants to go with the ball, and he can make those decisions in a quick second that kind of can make up for maybe not the quickest first step. But once he makes that step, getting up to a top-end speed to get away from defenders, he has that great acceleration. And this is the last play I'll show specifically on vision. Yeah, I think he shows vision on every play, basically, because he does it all the time. But here against Cleveland, he's doing a stretch out to the left, right? He's supposed to bounce this outside, go off tackle if the gap's there, but it's not. And he does the thing I just said in the clip before that he doesn't do all the time. He puts his foot in the ground. He does a really nice jump cut back towards the middle of the field as Cleveland's defense basically overcommits towards the sideline. And Kenneth Walker breaks a big play. Having the ability, the vision, the acceleration to get up to that top end speed and almost make that safety miss, that's the one thing he didn't do here. But hey, I take this, 40, 50-yard run any day of the week. Now I want to swing the focus to showing off Kenneth Walker's ability to use jump cuts, and he uses them so effectively. Here against Arizona, he waits in the backfield and he shows off that Le'Veon Bell, if you remember him from back in the day, type patience where he waits behind the line of scrimmage and he waits for a hole to open up. He decides, hey, I'm going to go to the right. Instead of going left, I'm going to go to the right side of the line, and there is a hole where there's a defender waiting for him. And Kenneth Walker's ability to sell that defender, to make him bite and break through so that Kenneth Walker can bounce this to the outside edge and get a great gain, that's awesome. I don't think many running backs in the NFL can do this. Kenneth Walker has it all. And here's another awesome example of vision, acceleration, and jump cut ability. He gets stuck in the backfield. He does his two-footed jump stop, but in the instant, the second, the millisecond, he has the ability to go, yep, I'm bouncing it outside. And he has the acceleration to make 33 fall, get past number 3, and get the edge for a first down. This play really made me happy when watching Kenneth Walker film because it's so awesome. He gets the handoff and he looks like he's going to break it right off tackle and hit that gap. But he makes 13 whiffs so hard. He makes him look dumb. And you'll see it from this angle too. He hits him with that left to right. It's not even close. I mean, this kid really has some juice. And hey, maybe you thought that last play was fluky, but here it is again. I mean, he does the same exact play. He cuts out right. He looks like he's going to keep it tight to the line of scrimmage and kind of break up the seam, but he makes a nice jump cut. And 21 whiffs again, just like 13 on the last play. This time, 21 was the victim. And this time, Walker can follow an entourage into the end zone for a touchdown. And now I just wanted to show you quickly what he can do in the red zone and why it's so important to have vision. I mean, all three of these runs for touchdowns, you're going to see Kenneth Walker kind of just putting together the pieces I've been talking about all video, right? It's the jump cuts, it's the vision, it's not just running into the back of a lineman and trying to power your way through, because we've seen a lot of bad running backs do that in the past. But every one of these runs, he is breaking down, picking a lane, and whether or not that's off after a jump cut or just initially from the, handoff, Walker has the vision and knows where he's going with the ball to score. One skill of Walker's that I mentioned earlier was his power. Now, he's not a bruising back, right? He's not this guy that's 230 pounds and is just a pure gonna run through your face guy. But he's not someone who goes down on first contact very often. He has and will break many tackles. And here against Arizona, he gets the ball out to the right. He basically gets spun around, but has the contact balance to stay up and then adds in everything else that we talked about, the acceleration to just get all the way back to the left side of the field, make cuts, and get a first down. And here is an identical play to the one I just showed you. Walker's going to catch a ball in the flat, and this play should go for 3 yards, and you just get tackled, move on to the next play. But Walker doesn't give up. He breaks this tackle, spins off, fakes towards the middle of the field, bounces it outside to the edge, and he goes on to break 2 tackles and then make 94 whiff after breaking this for a big gain. There are not many running backs at all in this league, maybe a handful that can make a play like this. I would say Christian McCaffrey is one of them, and maybe someone like Saquon Barkley. Now, I don't think Walker's quite into that class, but he's right on the edge of being a truly elite player in this league. In this play, we'll wrap up the film study. This is what Kenneth Walker can be when you get the ball in his hands in space, aka a playmaker. He gets the ball, basically a 3, 4, 5 yard dump off pass, and this should go nowhere. Now, he gets lucky because the defender does fall down, but he gets through that tight gap between the receiver and the defender, breaks a tackle, and then he puts it all together again. He shows the speed, the acceleration, and he gets that top end gear to kind of kick it and just outrun everybody. Kenneth Walker can make big plays if given the opportunity. All right, and before we end the video, I just wanted to swing the focus back to fantasy football because, hey, that's what we do here. And I wanted to talk about Kenneth Walker this year. People are really down on him for 2024 because last year the stats weren't that impressive. I mean, about just under 1,000 yards, another 200, 300 through the air, and 9 touchdowns. And I know it. People are worried about Zach Charbonnet really being a major factor in this backfield. But based on what I saw last year, I think Zach Charbonnet is a good player, but I wouldn't be intimidated by him, taking a major chunk out of this backfield. Just looking at kind of the games he had last year, no games over 10 carries for Zach Charbonnet. In the final 4 games, he had carries of 4, 2, 2, and 5. I just don't see a team that would be so in on Zach Charbonnet really, losing, I don't want to say losing faith, but not giving him the run that he was getting before, in the last 4 games when they're actually trying to make playoffs. And, they went on to win 3 of the 4 and almost make playoffs at 8-8. But, they kind of gave up on Charbonnet and then they went back to Walker, where, Walker in those games was productive and good and had a good end of the year stretch. He finished the last 4 games with 19, 16, 10, 17 carries and 86, 54, 53, 78 yards and a touchdown in 2 of those games. So my point is, I think Kenneth Walker is by far the better player in that backfield. While I think Zach Charbonnet isn't just a general backup, he could be kind of that fringe step in starter, that spot play type running back. I don't think he's anything close to the talent level of Kenneth Walker. And that's why I think Kenneth Walker going in somewhere as like the RB 14 to 17 range I've been seeing him around guys like Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones, I think is an absolute steal this year for fantasy football.